Dr. Harari is here to talk with us about perimenopause and menopause. We'll talk about what those terms mean. We'll talk about symptoms of menopause, treatment options that are available, and conditions that affect and cause menopause to occur earlier.
So we always kind of make a joke. I think in the psychiatric community, at least the psychiatrists that take care of women, it's like menopause gets all the press. Everyone knows about menopause, right? But no one ever talks about perimenopause. Who's peri and who is that? So just a quick introduction, just in a nutshell for everyone that's listening. Menopause is the official time when your period hangs up its hat, officially retires. Um, Average age of onset of menopause in the US currently is 51 years of age. So menopause is officially defined that you missed 12 consecutive periods. So you haven't had your menstrual period for a year, right? Perimenopause is that messy, confusing, in between stage where menopause is about to happen. So, I don't know about you guys, but in general, when you think of someone who's about to retire, typically like the last couple weeks before, like when we were students, right? Back in school, when we were kids and we knew that summer break was around the corner, that 1 month right before summer break starts, you kind of take it easy. You start to get a little messy. Maybe you're not doing as good of a job as you usually do. That's like perimenopause. Okay. It's just kind of messy and it's kind of the warning that things are about to end. So your hormones are fluctuating. Nothing really makes sense. Your cycle doesn't make sense. Maybe you're bleeding too much. Maybe you're not bleeding enough. Maybe your periods are too long or your periods are too short. And you're just left wondering, what's wrong with my body? What is going on? You're experiencing hot flashes, but you didn't even know what a hot flash was before. Essentially, your ovaries are having like a rave party. It's so confusing for your body because it's getting ready and your brain is remodeling and your body is remodeling and your hormones are remodeling and your body doesn't really know what's going on. So if you want to think about it, if menopause is your final destination, perimenopause is the really, really, really unpredictable road trip to get there. You're going to get flat tires and potholes and run out of gas, but your final destination, woohoo, is menopause.
You said a few minutes ago about brain remodeling. Could you tell us about that? Because that's something that happens throughout our lives, and I always think about remodeling during infancy, childhood, teenage years, but not so much about in adulthood. Tell us about that.
I personally think my brain is always under construction. It's part of my dust. So that's the interesting thing that we are seeming to talk about more is that your brain as a woman in perimenopause and menopause, and actually, again, we don't have enough data on it, but there are suggestions that it also happens in the postpartum period, that there is actual remodeling that does happen for these women. And that is a direct result of the shift that happens in your progesterone and estrogen and how quickly and how steeply and how often these changes happen because all these hormones are connected together at the end of the day. We see a lot of thyroid changes that happen as well in perimenopausal and menopausal women. If there are any history of thyroid changes or thyroid cancers in your family, typically it does tend to be around the perimenopausal or menopausal age that those issues start to creep up. And the problem with that is that it does actually affect your brain. You do get quite a bit of inflammation that happens within the parenchyma of the brain. Like if you think of the brain and it's kind of that squishy thing, it's just very inflamed. And inflammation can make it seem like your head, that expression, your head is in the clouds. Yeah, your head does feel like in a cloud. It's in a cloud of inflammation, is essentially what it's in. That does remodel the brain over time. Maybe not in a favorable way. I'm not saying it's upgrading by remodeling. I'm saying it's it's adjusting. It is frustrating.
And also cardiovascular, also in
Yes.
perimenopausal, they will increase cardiovascular and their, atherosclerotic disease and plaques, isn't it?
Absolutely. So what we don't talk about is one of the main culprits that will get women in, and again, those changes start in the perimenopausal age where your risk factors start to go up, is heart disease. But we don't think about it and we don't catch it often because heart attacks also look different in women. The symptoms are not the classic symptoms that you think of where your chest hurts and your arm hurts and you feel like there's an elephant sitting on your chest. In a lot of women, they say my back hurts, or they say my sternum hurts, or my breasts hurt even. It's very different, or they just feel like they're having the worst flu of their life. It looks different.
A lot of respect, because I can't imagine having to do that, cycling like that every month, and then all the other changes that happen throughout the life. It's a lot.
I think that one of the takeaways I want your listeners to maybe walk away with is, we will say it is very difficult to be a woman. It is very difficult. It has just like it's very difficult to be a man as well. But being a woman, yeah, it comes with we're constantly remodeling our bodies and all that, and it is challenging. However, if you can stop and remodel the way that you think about it as well, and I know, it sounds really woohoo, it's like, okay, yeah, sure, doctor. But it is also very beautiful. It is a beautiful thing to be able to say, my body is capable of doing these very, very, very incredible changes. And look at that. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Um, I certainly feel like, having survived postpartum depression and having survived childbirth and having been in labor for a whole week, I definitely feel like I am super strong compared to the girl that I used to think I was. So I don't know. Maybe I'm stronger. Maybe I'm just like delusional, but it is a beautiful thing. It can be. Maybe I'm just tricking myself though. I mean, really, it is hard though.